Hello friends, welcome to Squaird Plans, where creative planning and organization comes to life. I'm Stephanie, and today we're going to be designing a coffee-themed horizontal layout in my classic Happy Planner for the first week of February. So come plan with me. And I've got some washi tapes here ready to go for me to choose from. I've also got some brush pens and some stamping ink and some stamps and some stencils for me to try out on this theme. I've got some highlighters here as well, ready to go. Some Girl Boss Anna Now Narrative Hues stickers. And these Happy Planner stickers, which I'll pull from. So this is the first week of the February Plannable Challenge, and this week's theme is Fe'Brew'Ary. If you'd like to participate, go ahead and post your spreads up on Instagram using the hashtag PlanableFebruary 2023. We'd love to see what you come up with. Okay, I'm just going to put this out there right from the get-go. I do not like an aspect of this spread. We'll get to that point when it comes along, and I'll explain why I do not like it. But overall, there are some elements here that I think that we can take away from this as good and usable, so I decided to keep the plan with me. I went back and forth on whether I was going to post this or not, but I still think it's pretty valuable information. So we'll go ahead and put this out there for the world. Or that's just how it goes. Some weeks you're going to love your spreads, some weeks maybe not so much. And for me, this is one of those weeks where I just did not like how part of this turned out. That said, I'm going to show you guys exactly what I did start to finish, starting with laying down that wax paper to get things started. So I did that, and now I am in my Happy Planner Homebody sticker books. I have one regular sized, two mini sized, and then I also had an extra sheet of mini coffee cup stickers. So I have a lot of these little coffee cups in my stash. So I thought for Fe'Brew'Ary, I would of course do coffee because that's my brew of choice. And these little coffee cups I thought would be a cute thing to use up here. That was as far as I had thought things through. I pulled a couple of books with some brown tones that I thought would work, and then I started building this thing. My idea was to take these tiny little coffee cups, mainly from the Homebody mini sticker book, and use those as like the elements to create a bigger coffee cup. This idea could really be cool. There are just some things that I think made this one not as cool as it could have been, but this could be cool if it was done in the right context or with the right, I don't know, just with the right situation. I don't know. I'm laughing because it just came out so weird. Anyway, I took those little tiny coffee cups, and as you can see, I'm kind of building out the main element of the mug, like the main mug area, I guess it would be the right way to say the cup of the mug. And I'm just putting them in different, orientations, but trying to keep a somewhat straight line on the edge so you can really define what it is in the end. So I'm doing that now, and it takes a little bit just to even do this part to fit everything in. So one of the things I think that did not quite work out on this is that each of these little cups has a black bottom, as you can see. So they're like little, it looks like almost confetti on the page. So that wasn't really ideal for this application because it breaks up the line of the cup. So if they were all the same color, I think that would work a little bit better. Or if they were all outlined cups, like black and white outlined or something like that, I think it would have worked a little better. But the black bottomed cups with the really almost pale yellow tone for the color of the cup. It makes it hard to see on the white, and then all it looks like is confetti there, or like sprinkles. Reminds me of like donut sprinkles or something on a cup there, or on a shape. So that really didn't quite work out, I don't think. There's two types of coffee cups, and I'm taking the one that has the phrase coffee first for the handle to make it a little bit darker to differentiate it from the rest of the cup. And I think that was probably a good choice, just to have a little bit of color variation between the cup and the handle. But again, I feel like you're really not seeing the full thing that I want to achieve here, which is that it's like a coffee cup out of coffee cups. So we'll just put that to bed for now and leave that in the corner and move on to some of the structural elements I'm going to need for the spread, as far as focus boxes and maybe some other decor items spread around within the spread. So I'm in the neutral watercolor sticker book now, and I'm pulling out the tone of brown that I think best matches up with the kind of coffee color I'm looking for. This is a little bit more challenging than I thought, because when I was in there, there wasn't a lot of this more softer brown. There was more of like a yellow brown throughout, which I didn't really want that tone. I was really looking more for that coffee colored brown, if you will, even if it was like super light, but like a coffee brown tone. So that was a little bit of a challenge. So I pulled out everything I thought I might be able to pull in here in the brown I felt worked best. I had one box sticker here that I cut in half to start off and make that into two like focus areas that I could put on different days. Had a couple of circle stickers too that I thought would work. Really thought this neutral watercolors book was great because it kind of, had that liquidy effect with the watercolor feels, and with the tones I thought would work good with this coffee theme. That I think was actually a really good choice, but I did want to limit the color palette to the brown, so I cut off anything that was in the gray tone, or just didn't use it if it had any of the blue-gray mixed in. So I was able to find two strip stickers that I think I can use for almost like a washi tape application from that book. And then I have this coffee bean washi tape that I've had in my stash for a little bit. I got it from the Stationery Pal in my haul and have used it in a few applications already for coffee themes. And as you can see, the video kind of jumped ahead there. I lost a little bit of footage, just wasn't paying attention, didn't set my timer, so I lost a few moments, not too much though. I basically just layered in some of the washi tape with those strip stickers and added a little bit of the brown washi tape there from my stash. I didn't show that in the beginning. I tried the other colors that I had pulled and they were just too light. So I went back into my stash and found this almost light coffee brown that I thought would work a little bit better. So now I'm just trying to figure out how to layer it together here with the rest of this kind of washi moment at the bottom. And then I have that long washi tape here, this thicker coffee themed vintagey washi that I think I want to bring in here maybe, but I wasn't sure exactly where to put it. The best application actually seems to be on the spine, but I really wanted to put it on the outer edges. So I don't know, we'll see. I have it on the spine now. We'll see if that's where it ends up in the end. I've also used a little bit of that thicker washi tape and cut up some of the elements of it and added it to the focus box there at the top. And I have another piece of it sitting there on Wednesday, ready to be layered in with something else. Just try and figure out where exactly I want to place things and their relationship to each other. A little bit tricky with different sizes and shapes of things. just trying to find something I'm happy with here that feels balanced. I like the top right and the bottom left. I think that's working. The spine in the middle actually feels good, even though it's not really where I want it to be. And then that lower right hand side with a coffee cup is pretty heavy on that side, so I'm thinking I need a little bit more on the upper left. And I play around with this little piece of coffee bean washi tape, layering it in with these two boxes I pulled from the neutral watercolors, trying to create a little moment there. I'm also into the regular sized homebody sticker book now, and I'm pulling in a few more of those same coffee cups in the larger size to layer in as decor with some of those little focus areas. And I'm grabbing out some quotes too. I'm just trying to create some moments, some clusters, some fun, interesting things to look at on the spread outside of the main decor. And of course, I have to bring in the coffee first quote. So I put back the slow Sunday. That wasn't really working in the space I needed it to, so I went ahead and put that back. And now I'm into the Girl Boss Anna, which is now called Narrative Hues, that's her new company name, into her sticker book that I recently picked up. And I like it because it has all of the different kind of colorways that she made available for a while in her different overlay inks. So it's nice to have them all in one book and just like a sampling of each. So I'm going to pull in some brown tones that I think will work again with this spread and the colors. Try to layer in a few of those stickers here and there. Add a little bit more of that brown tone throughout the spread. I was really trying to work in this thicker version of this brown sticker, but it wasn't really working out. So I moved on. I also have pulled the Supermom sticker book, and that is an oldie. I have some little black and white coffee cups in there that I thought I might pull in as well as added decor, similar to the way that I use the larger coffee cups as elements next to those circle stickers. And I like the travel cups. Those ones I think are pretty cute. I tried the smaller, like heart mug elements in different areas, but that was, I don't know, challenging to work in and make it feel natural to the cluster. So I may or may not keep those. Now I'm just testing out some of these inks. I did pull a bunch of brown tones from my stash. I have one that's kind of more of a golden yellow, which was totally not right. And then I had this darker brown that was just too chocolatey, too deep. So I was thinking maybe if I mix them together, I could get the coffee color I was looking for, but that was still a little bit, I don't know, too dark maybe. It was hard to find the color that I really needed for the spread. I have a super old pad of copper ink, which I used on my last coffee spread. It is very dry, so it's very hard to get a good tonal, color out of it. And I didn't clean my brush. So that's really where I think I failed on this spread. If I had cleaned my brush, I think that the brown would have been just subtle enough to, kind of fade into the background, this copper tone. But because I didn't clean the brush, I had that deeper chocolatey brown still on there, as well as an older, like red tone that I never washed out. So I learned here that it's important to wash out these brushes because they will hold ink for decades, I guess, for ages. You can see how it's got almost like a cherry reddish tone in the background of the brown here on the corners especially, but all the way throughout it's just a lot darker than it's going to be when I use my stamp with that same copper color. But I had already committed. I already put that ink down onto the page, so there was no turning back now. So I just decided to go with it. I put the background behind those lighter colored cups because they were just a little too light against the white. So, lessons learned here. You need to have a nice strong contrast if you're going to use this same technique with some smaller stickers. Make sure you have a nice, bold sticker to work with. Hopefully it's a monotone, so it's either one color or like an outlined color and not multiple tones, especially with high contrast like these ones are. Also, clean your brushes because you might get unexpected colors coming through on your ink, and then it doesn't quite work the way you had hoped. Lots of lessons learned on this, so if you guys are attempting to add some mixed media to your spreads, learn from my mistakes here and try to not repeat those same things. Hopefully you'll get a better result than I did on this one. Right now I'm getting ready to roll off those coffee cups onto the pad of ink I've made for them, and I whited out the edge where the black line is on the spread. I forgot to do that before I actually inked up, so that it just didn't have that sharp black line showing through. It's a little more faded. It takes me a while to roll these off because they're technically not touching. With small stickers like this, if they're not touching, it makes it extra hard to release them from the wax paper. So at least they were all kind of in line, so I could do like chunks of 5 or 6 at a time, kind of the ones that were exposed all at once in a straight line. It's good, but yeah, it's tricky too. It just depends on how you've designed your spread, how easy the roll off is going to be. So I couldn't leave well enough alone. I was like, well, maybe if I, make them fade in a little bit more, just ink on top of them, try to blend the, heck out of these. I was trying to think of a proper word here. Or just blend them up and try to really make it look like a coffee cup. But then it kind of loses the appeal of it being made up of smaller coffee cups. I don't know, you guys. It just did not turn out how I wanted, but those are the breaks when you're doing a mixed media spread, which is why I prefer to do stickers, because you can always go back on stickers, whereas this, not so much. So I have this really cool Tim Holtz kind of inky splotch stamp I picked up not too long ago from Joann's, and I'm using that for a little extra splatter coffee texture with that same copper ink. And as you can see, that ink is way lighter than the one that's on the page under the coffee cups. So like I said, if I had cleaned my brush, I think it would have been just a nice subtle soft tone behind the coffee cups and would have been a lot better than what it ended up being. That said, we're done talking about that. It's done. It's on the page. So I'm going to try to figure out how to make it work with the rest of my color scheme. At least it is in the coffee color family. As you'll see, I'll try to work in some options of brown to try to bring that in. I also have this stencil from Tim Holtz too that I've also used on a previous coffee themed spread. Really love this stencil. I'm going to use a little bit more of that copper colored ink, but with that same brush, so it has a little bit of that reddish brown tone mixed in, and layer that in there on the spread as some more texture and decor. I'm moving over the clusters now that I have, and I'm going to try to just layer them in where they were on the wax paper. I'm going to remove the background on the sky. I liked it before I put in the coffee rings, but once I did that, I didn't like it there because the brown wasn't quite the same. Let's see if I can layer the same thing in another area. And that works. Let's see, we'll try to add in another bit of the stickers. That one I needed to turn a little bit so that it was straight up and down. Maybe I'll add in another coffee cup here on Saturday's circle. I was so flustered from how that large decor piece turned out that I was just doing some things I would normally do, like laying down stickers crooked and just not really paying attention because I was trying to figure out how I'm going to make this work with the colors that I currently have picked out for everything else, which was much more subtle browns than the one I have there. So I finally got everything over and onto the spread, and now I'm going to try to work in that washi tape that I mentioned before, but I'm going to put it on the spine. I did originally want it on the border, but I think we're going to put it on the spine. I think that's the best place for it. Some things I like about it is that it has more of that rich brown tone in there, so I'm going to at least bring in more of that darker brown, color into the spread, hopefully to help tie in the coffee cup in the corner. And I just laid it down and I cut the pages in half so that they would be separate again, and I'm going to try to punch it. My idea was just to layer them top to bottom so that the sticky parts of the washi tape would be kind of nested together, but it was still just a tiny bit too thick for my Happy Planner punch. My Happy Planner punch is super, super finicky. It's very, hard to work with. So I really have to prepare before I go ahead and punch anything that is sticky or has any kind of thickness. It's really temperamental, I guess would be a better word to describe my Happy Planner punch. I had a little bit of a struggle here. I didn't want that sticky washi tape to fall through because then it would probably gum up my punches. So I layered it with a piece of regular copier paper that was kind of like some scratch paper, and finally got that to work. It took a minute there on that last one, but I got it through and got it out cleanly, so that was what was important. I do have a little bit more of that brown, and I thought, well, maybe if I add a little bit more with the stamp, I could add some more brown in there. I tried to re-stamp. Don't ever do that. It's always a mistake. I knew it was going to be a mistake when I did it, but I was like, I'm going to do it anyway, and it was a mistake. It was off a little bit, so you can kind of see in the close-up at the end it was off. But I did like the addition of more of the brown, so I went back to that washi tape I pulled in the beginning with the darker brown, and I was like, well, let's just layer some more of that brown in again to tie in the coffee cup. So I'm going to do that. I just cut it in half and I'm layering it vertically here on the edges for more of that color. So since I need more of that brown, I'm going to use this mild liner in the darker brown for my checklists. And that's probably going to have to do it, you guys. I think this spread came out okay, but as you can hear, not my favorite. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up down below. Also too, go ahead and leave me a comment if you'd like to get in touch. And think about subscribing to my channel if you haven't already, if you'd like to see more of my videos. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And we'll see you next time. Bye!